Hey, greetings, my friends. James Jordan, Best Networker Live, aka your work from home Sensei, coming to you live today. This is episode 1 in the Marketing Sensei series, and I have one of my good friends, one of my good mentors, the MLM Super Hero, Darren Little, sharing with you some valuable content. He is just going to be and he's just going to be giving you some golden nuggets that you can use and start applying in your business and your life so that you can go out and change your life and manifest the results that you want for yourself. So, with that being said, Darren, I just want to welcome you and just say I appreciate you, brother.
Awesome, man. Thanks a lot for having me on this interview. It's great to be here.
Absolutely. So, let's just get right into it. I'll just share a little bit about how we originally got connected together for years over the internet. But the first time I met Darren in person was at this event out in Miami last year. Was exactly a year ago, and he just helped me get through so many different mental shifts, some paradigm shifts, have breakthroughs, right, that I'm still going through today. But one of the resources that I personally use that I recommend is Darren because of the value that he truly brings, and he truly does care about people. That's one thing that I can say about Darren that I can't say about everyone in this industry, is that but he's one of the most genuine, real, down-to-earth people that I can say I personally met in this industry. And, with that being said, Darren, I just want you to share your story and just introduce people to you.
Fantastic. Well, I've been in the industry now for over 25 years. I actually got started in my mid-20s. The first company that I ever got involved with 25 years ago, my entry price, James, my entry price was $4,000 to get started. So, I really threw my hat over the wall. I went all in. Now, when you talk about going all in, what would $4,000 be today? Figure that out for 25 years ago, probably $10,000, $12,000. So I drained my bank account. I took out a loan, plus I got money from my parents to go all in. So, but here's the cool thing, was that I believed in my dream and I followed my mentor, because my millionaire mentor that I had, he said, Darren, if you really want to be successful, you literally have to draw a line in the sand and you have to throw your hat over the wall and accept that there's going to be no other possibility than for you to be successful. There's no other possibility. And I believed it. I literally, there was no other way that was going to happen. And coming out of the gate, because I followed the training, because I didn't try to reinvent the wheel and do something differently, I ended up making back all of my money my very first month. I did over $40,000 in sales my very first month in business. And it was because I was coachable, because I didn't try to do something else or come up with something better. Hey, that's great, Harvey, I know that you've made millions, but let me go try this other thing because I think I've got a better way. I didn't do that. I just stuck to the basics. I followed the training, and I had great success because of it. And this industry is really, truly about personal development. And because I was on sort of parallel paths, I was on, coming from marketing and advertising, and then I was in the personal development industry, and then network marketing was very in line with the personal development industry. So, I've sort of gone in and out of the industry numerous times over the last 25 years, but it's like a magnet. And I tell you, James, this industry is like a magnet. It always pulls you back in. Why is that? Because of the people, the relationships, the personal breakthroughs that you get to witness along this path in the industry. There's nothing like it. Quite honestly, there's nothing like this industry of networking, network marketing, online marketing, because it really helps people to create leverage so that you can literally be, making money while you're sleeping. You can make money while you're on holidays. You can make money 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And it wasn't really until about the last I'd say about the last 4 years or so, when I really started to take my business online, that I really started to see that come true. You hear these stories about people going from rags to riches, or people making $2,000, $3,000, $5,000 in a single day. And it wasn't until I took my business onto the internet that that really started to happen for me, where I would get up in the morning and I would already make $5,000, So it's been a really, really exciting and interesting journey, and looking forward to now starting to take things to another level, to the 7 figures and beyond, with some of the strategies that I've learned recently.
Awesome, awesome. Now it's kind of funny because you're talking about waking up in the morning and having a $5,000 day, right? But a lot of people, the first thing that they say is, well, how did you do it, right? When in reality, it really starts with who we are as a person and what we're vibrating on at a certain level. Now, I'm not going to sit here and pretend and act like, I'm some super guru about this stuff, because I'm still learning about the process of manifestation, right? But, could you just dive into a little bit deeper about what someone needs to go through in developing into, and the type of thought process that they need to have in order to go out and start manifesting those days where they're having, $5,000 days, $10,000 and beyond? Can you just shed some light to the people who are thinking that they want to make it happen, but it may seem like some unfathomable, result that they feel that they can't accomplish yet? What does that individual need to do in order to have a shift and a breakthrough, in order for that result to manifest into their physical reality?
Absolutely. Okay, so it's actually really quite a simple and easy process to be able to do this. But what a person has to do in the beginning is to understand that the human brain is programmed to self-destruct. You have to just accept that as truth. You have to realize that's part of the human condition. They talk about it in Think and Grow Rich. There's a whole chapter on self-sabotage, and it all gets back to 4 key components: deservability, worthiness, self-love, and boundaries. Those are the 4 key components, okay? Now, in order to master those 4, you've got to master 3 things. You've got to master your thoughts, you've got to master your words, and you've got to master your emotions. So you've got to master the 3 to master the 4. Okay, so those are the basic rules to the game and how it starts, okay? So the next thing, you've got to realize that the timeline, right, from the time that you were born until today, you've got a bunch of stuff, like baggage, like you're carrying this, this bag of cement that's hanging over your shoulders, and you're trying to get to the top of the mountain. Until a person is prepared to surrender, to relinquish, and to love themselves enough to feel worthy, to feel deserving of their greatness, to know that abundance is their birthright, that there's not enough money in the world that can pay you for your worth. Until you get to that point where you draw a line in the sand and you're prepared to deal with the emotions to get to that next level, okay? Now, here's the interesting thing. A lot of people are too scared to do that, right? Because in order to do that, you got to pop your Pandora's box, right? That's in your chest. That's where all those emotions, all the hurts, all the pains, all the tragedies, all the failed relationships, all of the injuries, all of the businesses gone wrong, everything, all the stuff with your parents, it's all held in the body. And until you're prepared to get that out of your body cannot raise to a higher frequency. It's not possible. So a lot of people, what happens is, if they talk about stuff in their past, their Pandora's box starts to bubble up, right? And they push it back down. Until a person is prepared to deal with that stuff and to deal with all of those emotions, right? And to love themselves and to forgive themselves, to feel worthy, you cannot advance to get to the next level of manifestation. It is not possible. Now, why is that? Because the body cannot increase its resonance to a higher vibration, just like a radio station. Success is a radio broadcast frequency, okay? So what we need to be able to do is to turn up that volume, turn up that vibrational resonance to a higher frequency, okay? So a lot of people say, well, okay, well that sounds kind of scientific, Darren. Well, how do you really get to the core? What is the process? What do you got to do? Here's what you've got to do. The first thing that you've got to do is you've got to visualize yourself flying over top of the payments, whether they're 3,000, 5,000, 10,000. You have to be the eagle that's flying over top, looking down at the blueprint, okay? Now, most people, when they get into some sort of an online business or they think of those $3,000 commissions, they visualize themselves looking up at a mountain. That's the first thing that you have to change in your perception. You have to be the eagle flying over top, okay? Number one. Number two, you've got to feel worthy and deserving and bring that vibrational frequency up. So what do? I make multiple trips down to the exotic car dealership. Multiple trips. Okay, I'm not talking about like once or twice a year. I'm talking about, you know, once every week to 10 days. I'm at the Aston Martin dealership. I'm at the Lamborghini dealership. You know, I'm looking at the Bentleys. You know, because those cars, it's not whether or not you want one. Those cars hold a certain vibrational frequency, and there's something that happens in quantum physics that's called energy transference. So if you are always around those $500,000 cars, their vibration starts to transfer over to your body, right? So when you leave, you're at a different resonance than when you got there. Okay, so that's the first thing. So you've got to start to increase that vibrational frequency in your body, right? And realize it's not going to happen until you pop that Pandora's box and deal with your emotions. And the gateway to your future is in cleaning up your past, right? And that's typically starts with your relationship with your parents, right? So a lot of people don't want to do that work. Right? They say, well, Darren, I want the stuff over here. Well, then you've got to do the stuff back there, right? That's the key. So once you have an understanding of this, you've now got to set out your what I call proclamation statements. They start with the words I am, okay? Now, what I typically do is I have 10 I am proclamation statements, you know, and then I've got a full paragraph that kind of flows together. And when I'm doing it, I'm not reading it sitting down, I'm reading it standing up, and I'm saying it with emotion, okay? So I could say, as an example, I'm driving an Aston Martin, okay? But if I'm doing a proclamation, I'm saying, I'm driving an Aston Martin. It's an emotional, yeah. There's movement in your body, right? And you're really into the emotion, okay? Because the secret to creating whatever it is that you want in the reality. Okay, there's two worlds that exist simultaneously. Everything you want, everything you don't want. You're riding a tightrope between two realities always. Now, the secret to getting anything is real simple. It's thought-directed emotion that generates feeling. Okay, so in essence, what we have to do in order to be able to become good manifestors is we have to imagine going into the future and feeling that physiology in our body of what it feels like to already have that experience physically in our body. What does it feel like, right? So what I say multiple times through the day, I'll just, you know, get grounded. How do I feel? How do I feel? Now, when I say that, what happens is my hair stands up on my arms, right? Because I'm so anchored to it. I do this so much. I do this so often, right? That my body is ready as soon as I say those words. How do I feel? How do I feel? Boom, there it happens, right? So it's important for you to be able to realize that it happens like that. It's not like this long, drawn-out process to be able to do. It's instant, right? Once you tap your physiology into the feeling of what it feels like to already have that future reality, that's when it starts to happen. So you have to literally, as an entrepreneur, you have to walk forward in complete blind faith. Okay, now in Think and Grow Rich, Napoleon Hill talks about this principle, and imagine you're completely blind. You're completely blind, okay? You got blinders on or you've got no vision, but you have to take the next step in that darkness knowing the stair will appear right underneath your feet. And that's the conviction, that's the state of mind that you have to be in, where you're walking forward with 100% complete blind faith. There's nothing and nobody that's going to stop you, nothing, right? So you've got to be so laser focused and laser targeted to what that goal is, right? And you're speaking the reality into existence. Okay, now this right now that we're on right here, this is an energy portal, okay? Google Hangouts are energy portal, Skype is an energy portal, Facebook is an energy portal, this is an energy portal, right? So you can transfer your energy and amplify it through an energy portal, okay? But how do you get from one reality to the next reality? You got to create an opening in the matrix. So what do? You do a three-dimensional vision board. Okay, now the three-dimensional vision board, what do I mean by that? It has to look like you can put your arm right through it. I'm not talking about just pictures slapped up onto a piece of board. I'm talking about stuff in the foreground and stuff in the horizon, right, where it actually looks like you can reach right through. And as you're speaking the reality into existence through your energy portal, your body starts to tap into the physiology of the future reality, and it's now communicating with the electrons. Now, the electrons are smaller than the atoms and the molecules. Now, in The Science of Getting Rich by Wallace D. Wattles, he talks about something called formless substance. That's the electrons. Now, the electrons have not yet made up their mind. Are they going to be a wave of energy? Or are they going to be a particle of matter? They're waiting for your instructions. And what gives them the instructions? Thought, directed emotion that generates feeling, goes out to the electrons to tell them what the reality is going to be. So you have to take 100% full ownership that you are the creator of your own reality, that it's your thoughts, your words, your emotions that's making this thing come to be, and that all the friction, all the hardship, all the struggle is all being created by you, by not wanting to surrender, by not wanting to relinquish, by not feeling worthy, by not loving yourself enough just to allow that abundance flow to come in.
That was powerful. I feel like I'm in church right now. You know, this is why I love you, Darren. You know, we originally were gonna keep it really short. You just went in the zone. You decided to really just give value and help people really start to know how to go from A to Z, right? And I know that you talked briefly about, you know, dealing with parents and dealing with the past, which is a lot of people don't get this. A lot of people walk around carrying baggage. You know, it's something that I'm doing every single day. You know, clearing, getting rid of, you know, feeling guilty for what has happened to me in the past and stuff like that. So, you know, and I want to end it on this because we've shared a lot of value to people, and people just need to get hold of you if they want to learn more about what it is that you do and stuff like that. But for people that want to get rid of their past and want to clean it up so that they can really move forward in the present to where they deserve to be, what do you do to just let go of what's already happened that they no longer have any control of?
Okay. And that's really, James, where it gets into owning the whole timeline. Now, what do I mean by that? Until a person owns their entire timeline, everything, and for some of the people, this is going to be pretty tough. Okay, people that have been emotionally abused, people that have been sexually abused, people that have been hard done by or beaten or have really a rough childhood growing up. It's very difficult for those people to finally own all of it. Own all of it. I'm talking about taking 100% full responsibility that the entire thing was done by them to them. Now, until they can get to that, where they're prepared to let those emotions out and forgive themselves, they will never advance. They will always be stuck in the first level of the game called victimhood. And until they can own that whole thing, right, and surrender, relinquish, and love themselves enough to forgive themselves, they will not be able to advance to level 2. So the key really is in being prepared to be vulnerable, being prepared to let that Pandora's box finally blow, and to take that inner journey, basically into, I call it, into the abyss. It's the journey into the inward, the journey inward, and that's really where they will have their biggest breakthrough. But I'm not going to lie, James, it's going to be emotional. I mean, to get somebody from $30,000 or $40,000 a year to $30,000 or $40,000 a month, they're going to go through some Kleenex, and there's no way around that. There's no way around it, right? So, I always say to people, when they say, "Hey, Darren, can you help me become a millionaire?" I say, you know what? Grab some Kleenex, because you're going to need it. Get a couple boxes of tissues, because you're going to have to go through that emotional stuff in order to advance and go to the next level.
Yeah, absolutely, bro. And you're so on point. And you guys, this is truth, because Darren has said this to me in private conversation, constantly said to me, so you got to be vulnerable, you got to be open, right? And after I got back from Vegas, I had shot a video that was like 20 minutes long, and I was sitting there crying like halfway through it. And I knew that I had transcended to a whole new level. I knew that I was no longer holding things back and trying to be something that I'm not, or trying to project something that I'm not, and I was just being 100% real and authentic. And you're gonna have to go through that process, right? You got to be open. You got to be willing to share who you are, and you got to be willing to look at what's going on in your life and be 100% responsible. Because one of the first things that I learned from Darren when I first met him out in Miami was to stop playing a victim. Because as soon as he asked me what was going on in my life, and I was telling him, and he looked at me and he's like, "Well, you gotta stop being a victim." And I was like, "You know what? You're right." Right? And everything that you shared, Darren, is on point and awesome. And I appreciate you, brother, for coming out, being the first person in the Marketing Sensei series. Are there any last thoughts that you want to share with people, and also tell people how they can get in touch with you and how they can contact you if they have traction, how to manifest results, or anything of that nature, and so forth?
Absolutely. I guess if there was 2 books that I would suggest for people to read that will really help to put them into forward momentum, the first book is called Ask and It Is Given by Esther and Jerry Hicks. That book, quite honestly, was one of the biggest shifts for me on the path of manifestation. But I worked for 2 years with Dr. Dov Baron, and he has a specific program called equationformanifestation.com. That particular program will actually teach you how to become a good manifester and take you through step by step to teach you how to do it. The second book is called Secrets of the Millionaire Mind by T. Harv Eker. And if a person only read those two books, okay, that's it. So they read Ask and It Is Given, which teaches you how to manifest, and they read Secrets of the Millionaire Mind by T. Harv Eker, they're not only going to learn how to create the wealth, but to keep the wealth, right? So those two. And then manifestation, equationformanifestation.com. And anybody that wants to be able to get a hold of me directly, I'm easy to get a hold of on Skype, Darren Little 11, Darren Little 11, and I'm in Vancouver in British Columbia, Canada, and my phone number is 604-771-1901.
Oh, one of the marketers nowadays that will give you his phone number, sharing with new people. Darren, love you. Appreciate your brother for coming out. Value that you've given me in the past 12 months. I really do appreciate it from the bottom of my heart, bro. And just thanks for being the first person on the Marketing Sensei series. Appreciate you.
Thanks, James. Great to be here, man.
Absolutely. All right, guys. We will see you in the next episode. So connect with Darren. Feel free to continue to watch these. Continue to go to bestworkeralive.com because we will be coming with more people, more value, more content. And I'm the first person to come up because he really shapes for everything else that's going to come down the line. Everything happens for a reason.